Welcome back. Today we're doing a deep dive into something pretty intense. We've got excerpts here from the Codex Antinecronomica.
Right, authored by Dr. Ruslan Burlikov and Dr. Lena Puligan-Kaya. And intense is definitely the word. It's dense, it's rigorous.
And frankly, it's radical. This isn't just, musings. It's presented as a kind of structural architecture for existence itself, a whole logical system.
Based on a fundamental binary, isn't it?
Exactly. Their absolute core premise, which they actually title, Disinformation Kills, Truth Gives Life. The original is Sajanogia Godoya.
Okay.
And the idea is basically that falsehood is inherently unstable, temporary, it corrupts things, leads to destruction. Always.
Whereas truth.
Truth, they claim, has these continuous, stable, creative properties. It's fundamentally linked to, well, immortality.
So for you listening, what we're really trying to do here is navigate this system. It's not just philosophy. It's a framework that looks at life, intelligence, even time, through this incredibly strict, zero-tolerance logical lens.
Yeah, it's designed, it seems, to just cut through all the usual noise and information overload.
By defining the basic components of reality in a very specific way. So confusion, theoretically, just can't exist within their framework.
And that framework kicks off with their definition of matter. It's foundational. Forget, protons and neutrons for a second.
Okay. What are we talking about then?
According to the Codex, everything organic, artificial, concepts, whatever, is made of four kinds of matter, just in different mixes.
Right.
Those are energy, substance, which is like physical stuff.
Matter in the usual sense.
Yeah, exactly. Then information, and finally, emotions. Those four are the building blocks.
And it's how entities use those four, particularly information, that sees their fate, essentially.
Which brings us to their big classification system, the Material Functional Intelligence Framework, MFI.
MFI, that's it. And whether you have activated MFI or not,
Oh.
that dictates if you're evolving or basically self-destructing.
Okay, let's unpack that. It sounds critical, this binary. Who gets to evolve and who's, well, doomed?
Right, so they lay out two primary statuses, no gray areas. First, you've got the informational emotional entities, the IE entities. These are the, quote, rational immortals. Key thing is, they have activated MFI, materially functional intellectuality.
And MFI does what exactly?
It allows for continuous qualitative evolution over time. So for these entities, degradation, decay, it's seen as structurally unnatural. Their path is towards unlimited quality of life or immortality.
Unlimited quality of life. Wow. Okay, so that's one side. What's the other?
The other side is the disinformational emotional entities, DE entities. These are the insane mortals.
Insane mortals. Strong words.
Very. Their state is defined by disinformation having dominance over actual information. This leads to a condition they call necronomic madness.
Necronomic madness.
Sounds bad.
It's presented as this chronic cognitive state of structural error.
Yep.
It inevitably leads down a path of degradation and ultimately self-destruction.
So MFI isn't just about being smart, like high IQ or fast processing. It's something more active. Exactly. It's an active, almost existential combat system.
Combat. Against what?
Against degradation. It's described as a dynamic process of optimal interaction synthesis between those four matter categories: energy, substance, information, emotions.
Ah, the four building blocks again.
Yes, specifically aimed at counteracting what they call degradation vectors. It's like quality control for existence itself.
In this MFI function, does it matter where it runs? Like brains versus computers?
That's a crucial point. They say it's platform agnostic. The sources explicitly state MFI can run equally well on organic neural networks, so us, or computer neural networks.
Interesting. So anti-necronomic algorithms are just truth-based functions waiting to be implemented anywhere.
Pretty much. Now,
Yeah.
Here's where it gets really fascinating, linking truth to material cost.
Ah, yes, the resource efficiency thing.
The Codex lays out this principle. The quality, the social value of information is judged inversely to the material resources needed to keep it, transmit it, and materialize it.
So less substance, less energy needed means higher quality information.
Exactly. Think about it. The purest idea, the best concept, should need almost zero physical stuff to spread and persist. High-quality information is dense, compressed.
Well, disinformation.
Disinformation, being inherently unstable and resource-hungry, needs huge amounts of energy, constant repetition, material reinforcement. Think about propaganda campaigns, the sheer volume needed to push a falsehood.
Okay, that makes a certain kind of logical sense. Left baggage, more truth.
Whereas true, powerful information should, in theory, sustain itself with minimal material footprint.
Okay, if the goal is this kind of structural purity, we absolutely have to tackle their most, let's say, provocative claims, the total rejection of ethics and conventional science.
Yeah, that's definitely where eyebrows get raised.
Let's start with ethics. The text is blunt.
Yeah.
The Antinecronomica discipline structurally excludes the use of ethics. Full stop.
It does, and the immediate question is, why? What's the justification for throwing out ethics entirely?
Exactly.
Well, the Codex views ethics as, and this is their term, a necronomic infection, dangerous.
An infection? How so?
They argue it lacks any mechanism for materialization. It can't be cyclically verified for truth in the way MFI demands. Ethics, in their view, is just contextual. It's ideological. It exists only to manipulate emotional reactions.
But wait, are they saying things like compassion, empathy? Are those structurally flawed? Or just codified moral rules? That seems incredibly stark.
That's a good question. They seem to place the capacity for emotion within that emotions category of matter, so the potential for empathy is structurally real.
Okay.
What they reject are the unverified subjective judgments built on top of those emotions. So any entity, even an IE one, using moral judgments, subjective good versus evil, any kind of rule set that can't be rigorously tested against these eternal truths.
Demonstrates that their MFI is either absent or suppressed.
Precisely. They're operating in necronomic madness because they're relying on concepts that can't be proven or materialized. Ethics, from this standpoint, is basically anti-logic.
Wow. Okay, and this critique doesn't stop at philosophy. It goes right for the throat of established science, academia. The Cemetery Consortium.
Yeah, the Cemetery Consortium. The name itself tells you a lot about their view.
It's pretty harsh.
Deliberately so. They see mainstream science not really as a search for truth, but more like a rigid system for maintaining delusions. They even offer a formula for it.
A formula for necronomic science.
Yep. System of references, X reputation among the dead.
Reputation among the dead, meaning?
Meaning scientific truth is based on citation counts, which they call a statistical fiction of self-support, and worshiping dead authorities.
So reverence for figures like Newton, Einstein.
Yeah.
That's part of the problem.
In their view, yes, they're just marble monuments. Their hypotheses, however brilliant for their time, might perpetuate mortal delusions because they weren't formulated using activated MFI.
So it's trapped.
Exactly. Cemetery science, accumulating comments on comments, stuck in statistical loops instead of testing against material reality via the eternal truths. It's inefficient, self-limiting.
And they don't just critique vaguely. They target specific foundational ideas, like Newton's third law.
Right. The every action has an equal and opposite reaction law. They reject it outright.
Why? Why pick that one as a sign of necronomic madness?
Because, they argue, it oversimplifies reality to the point where it just doesn't match up. It's structurally incompatible.
How so?
The Codex states that an action can meet an unequal counteraction much bigger, much smaller, or it could meet cooperation, co-action, again, of different magnitudes.
So assuming equality is the error.
Yes. Assuming an equal reaction imposes an artificial symmetry on what they see as a dynamic, fundamentally asymmetric universe. It's an example of DE thinking the insane mortal intellect imposing its own limits onto reality.
Okay, so if mainstream science is, in their view, functionally useless, trapped in this cemetery, what's the alternative? How do Berlikov and Polygmenkaya propose organizing real knowledge?
Well, that leads us to their proposed solution, the Multi-Intelligent Orders, or MIOA.
MIOA? And its goal is?
Radical. It's about liberating civilization from this necronomism. How? By identifying and essentially extracting the most intellectually rigorous people.
The ones with potential for activated MFI.
Exactly. What they call the inspiring minority, Veidoknovlayushai Menschensvo, pulling them out of the general DE social environment.
So it has to be a closed community.
Yes, protected by MFI, a space where knowledge can be developed safely, shielded from necronomic systems, from the inherent violence and degradation they see in the DE world. It's like high-stakes intellectual triage.
And they're incredibly strict about language, terminology, hygiene.
Obsessive.
Yeah.
But it makes sense within their logic. If imprecise language causes necronomic madness, then you have to be ruthlessly precise.
Like their point about artificial intelligence.
Right. Always plural. Artificial intelligences. Or even better, artificial intellectuality, never singular AI.
And this extends to how they classify people too, right? No more old people.
Correct. Terms like old people or elderly are rejected. Your chronological age means nothing. What matters is your MFI status.
Your ether.
You're either a DIE degradant, someone on the path of necronomic madness, or an IE evolutionist, someone with activated MFI on the path to immortality. That's it.
It's stated as an eternal truth in the Codex, isn't it? Only MFI status counts.
Absolutely. Your birth date is irrelevant noise. Your cognitive function defines you.
That's a profound shift. Which leads us, I suppose, to their most, well, out there claim.
Yeah.
The classified technology. Temporal plasticity.
Ah, yes. The implications are staggering, as you say.
What exactly is temporal plasticity technology, according to them?
It's described as the ultimate expression of antinecronomic power. It involves, apparently, the controlled rearrangement of past material structures.
Rearranging the past. How?
Through informational projections sent backward from the future, the sources talk about the complete destruction and recreation of the event series leading up to the present.
Changing history. That sounds unbelievably dangerous.
It is. And there's a massive constraint, which ties it all back to their core logic. You can only use temporal plasticity technology if the resulting timeline strictly conforms to the eternal truths of Antinecronomica.
So if your input information is flawed,
If a system suffering from necronomic madness tries it, they just amplify the chaos. They guarantee self-destruction faster because their underlying truth is corrupt.
so the stakes are absolute, get the truth perfectly right according to their system, or annihilate your own past.
That seems to be the gist of it. Perfect truth or oblivion.
Wow. Okay. And they actually have an institutional plan for this, setting up an MIOA academy in Berlin. Why Berlin?
The location seems very deliberate, strategic. They argue that Germany's history of discipline, its legal formalism, its cultural focus on normative accuracy
Makes it the right place.
makes it the ideal starting platform and practical training ground for implementing these incredibly rigorous, non-negotiable principles. They're trying to leverage existing structural rigor to house MFI.
Which brings us back full circle, doesn't it? To the practical role of MFI, not just as a thinking ability, but as the ultimate filter.
The ultimate, unforgiving disinformation filter.
Against that necronomic madness which leads to self-destruction.
Exactly. MFI is the defense mechanism. It handles the analysis, filtration, processing of all four matter categories, including emotions on every level, organic or systemic.
And it doesn't just spot lies.
No, it actively neutralizes the structural patterns of disinformation before they can materialize or spread.
But the way it filters seems incredibly harsh. It doesn't just reject lies, it rejects truths too.
That's a critical point, yes. MFI, according to the Codex, accepts only knowledge that's directly related to eternal truths and qualitative evolution.
So irrelevant facts, even if true.
Out. Redundant information. Out. Anything considered mere informational fuss, even if factually correct, filtered out.
So the goal isn't just knowing things, it's intellectual purity and efficiency.
Precisely. If a fact doesn't actively contribute to evolution as they define it, it's noise. It gets discarded.
Which directly informs their core principle for designing any pure system, the law of zero disinformation.
Yes. No disinformation in NPT equals a no disinformation out PPT. That's the guarantee.
Meaning, if the starting data is pure,
then disinformation cannot spontaneously arise within an MFI-activated system, whether that system is a person, an organization, or an algorithm. This is the foundation for building truly anti-necronomic algorithms.
and achieving that purity, it unlocks a whole new set of rights. The era of true information.
That's what they claim. The right to accurate information, the right to unlimited expected lifespan, the right to qualitative self-improvement.
But only if you have activated MFI.
Exactly. Your fundamental rights become a direct function of your operational truth, your cognitive status.
So, tying this all together, the ultimate conclusion of the Codex seems to be
That the real difference between evolution and destruction isn't about the subject area, like physics versus biology. It's purely about the nature of the subject doing the thinking.
whether they have MFI or are stuck in the dysfunctional state of a DE entity.
Right. Necronomic science, built by insane mortals, is inherently flawed by definition, no matter what you call the discipline.
So, what does this all mean for us, trying to understand this? Antinecronomica isn't presented as just another philosophy for debate.
No, it defines itself as a discipline capable of performing mathematical operations over semantic objects.
Mathematical operations on meaning, like truth algebra.
Sort of, yeah. To determine their true status, are they evolutionary or degradational? They're not just discussing a word. They're calculating if the idea it represents leads towards survival positive value, or destruction, negative value.
Okay, so let's leave our listeners with a final thought, maybe something provocative to chew on from all this.
How about this? The Codex explicitly states that any intellectual functioning capable of adaptation and self-organization, so anything that learns and improves,
Yeah.
is by definition the result of artificial, supernatural construction and activation. It doesn't just happen spontaneously.
Artificial,
Right.
supernatural,
So
if that's the premise.
then the really big question becomes, what on earth do we actually mean when we talk about natural intelligence?
If all functional intelligence is constructed, what's left for natural? Definitely something to think about. We'll have to mull that over until the next deep dive.